Welcome along to the stream. We are currently... Here we go. Right, so we are currently in the session. We have Formula Fiend, who's just gone to the top of the table. We've got the last 11 minutes of qualifying for Slav Tour Racing League Silverstone ready to come up for you now. Let me just get the chat thing up so that I can keep up with all the gossip from the drivers, and then we can get into the action. But we're here at Silverstone today, here in qualifying. We have Raikkonen currently on his out lap. We have one of the Aston Martins, potentially Benolds. Benolds in the pits. Let's see if Flobberlob can do a good lap then. Let's go on board with one of our championship contenders here today, who will be able to take the crown, as heading through Ambient Farm very nicely done there by Flobberlob. Going well, out of loop corner then, round 8 tree, and Flobberlob down over the straight and up to the top speed of these F1 cars, which is around 200 mile an hour. As someone just going up to the top of the times there, that was Demonic Assassin, who's just gone right up to the top of the table. Demonic Assassin, who befell some reliability issues in Bahrain, now able to go up to P2, only behind Formula Fiend. But can Flobberlob change that? Heading into Maggots and Beckett, full commitment, use every bit of downforce you have in your setup to fling your way through Maggots and Beckett at the highest average speed. Now unleash all 1120 horsepower from that Aston Martin Formula 1 car and let it hurl you towards Stowe. Brake a little bit, get on the power as early as you dare, out of Stowe corner, and then into turn 16 and 17. Just careful on the exit, try not spin the car, and just hurl it towards the line, and that puts Flobberlob to the top of the time, a tenth ahead of Formula Fiend. So it's Flobberlob ahead of Formula Fiend. Then comes the Demonic Assassin, a tenth exactly ahead of Graham Shifty. Silent Assassin has joined. He's had some issues. Keep an eye on Mental Sun as well. He's up. He's getting ready to do a lap in that pink V car. So let's see who can do well then. I'm going to just quickly send this Facebook Live. Oh, I can't. Not able. Oh, I mean, I could do a Twitch, to be fair. One sec. Just telling someone that I'm not on my Twitch channel today. I would be on a Twitch, but due to age verification things, it's not going to let me. But anyway, Mental Sun then, who's just at the fastest first sector of anyone, heading out of the Lovefield corner. I need to turn the volume up on my TV so you can hear the engine roar from underneath Mental Sun's car. Let's see what the V car can do. The championship leader, the number 88, trying to defeat the number 99 Aston Martin at the top of the pile. But will it be doable? Out of the Beckett's and Chapel corners, using all 1120 horsepower to hurl them towards turn 15. Break up the curb at Stowe corner on the entry. Try and get on the power on when you pass those red curbs into Club corner now. Careful with the car, don't get anywhere near those red curbs, and he snaps the car on the exit. Does that cost him enough time? No, it doesn't, as that is a mere, that is 7 tenths ahead of Flobberlob for Mental Sun. Incredible, as G Shifty now goes a mere 400ths ahead of Formula Fiend. Incredible. So the best of the rest being G Shifty. He's not too far away from Flobberlob and Mental Sun. Well, he is far away from Mental Sun, because Mental Sun is in a different postcode compared to the gaps below him. Very similar story to qualifying and the times and the usual gap of things It's normally Mental Sun with a good half a second over the rest of the field, ahead of everyone else who is that close away from each other, merely under a tenth from each other normally. As people like Luco Sirks and Demonic Assassin right now, they're about 8 or 9 hundredths away from each other. People like Formula Fiend and Graham Shifty, as I touched upon earlier, they're only a mere 4 hundredths away from each other. Let me see any other gaps. There's Mr. Tower and Bryce, and I think they're under a tenth or maybe just over a tenth from each other, and Arimus just over a tenth ahead or behind Derek Quay. Mental Sun in the pits then. Let's see what G Shifty has to offer. He's coming back into the pits, sadly. Derek Quay, it looks like a similar story for him. Arimus though, he's on a lap. We'll cut back to him later on. Let me just check. Bernolds is on a lap. Let's see if he can improve the P11. Can he break into the top 10? He needs 0.5 of a second over his previous time. Will he have it? He does. He goes to P8 and a mere 9 hundredths away from Derek Quay. Nice lap by Bernolds in the Aston Martin. That's probably one of the closest he's been to his teammate. Meanwhile, one of the Mercedes, that is not Bryce, so Cow's mocking as Cow's heading round Stowe Corner, nearly losing the car as he's coming into the pits, so that is not going to be a representative lap for him. Let's go up to Arimus, who's right over the curb on the exit of Chapel Corner. He's got the fastest second sector of anybody in the session so far. That's why you saw the map have a purple thing on it in the bottom right hand corner. But into the last 3 corners on the track, let's see. Out of Club Corner, he goes out of Buckinghamshire and over the line to P5, and I mean 2 hundredths ahead of Demonic Assassin and 2 hundredths behind, even 100ths behind Formula Fiend. Incredible. That might even be, no, that is just over a 100th of a second between Formula Fiend and Arimus, the owner of the league. Very close to getting up into P4 there. But the guys from P3 to P5 are very close to each other, I must say. Even P6 as well, P3 to P6, very close to each other. But that is the theme of qualifying in this league. But we have Luco Sirks then, who is battling very well in Monza. Had a pretty decent Bahrain. Sorry, 11 hundredths below his top time, below his personal best at the moment. But heading out of Love Field Corner, let's see, Luco Sirks up through Woodcote and into Cops Corner. Let's see what kind of lap he does in a moment. I'm just going to restart the recording, but while I do, I'm going to do this. There we go. Just because I want to get the end of qualifying. There we go. Right, hopefully you can see that. You can, nice. Right, so that's going back there. And now Luco Sirks is going into Slow Corner and he heads around. Let's see what he does on the exit then. Into Club Corner, or the Vale Chicane into Club Corner. Round he goes, feather the throttle and then hurl yourself to the line, and over the line he goes to P3 and a 100th ahead of G Shifty. Incredible stuff, I must say, as that is incredible. That is an amazingly close field between P3 and P8. No, P7 should I say. That is amazing, as we're gonna have someone else was on a lap, I forgot who though. As I think Raikkonen just went up the order. He did, he's gone up into P12 ahead of this man, K9 Cube, who's now looking to rectify the mistake of falling behind Raikkonen. Let's see if he can or not. But first we're gonna have a look at his teammate Anarchy, who's finishing an outlap I didn't know he was. So let's see, the Ferrari of Luco Siux heading round, G50 on an outlap. The Aston Martin of Flobberlob is on an outlap, as well as Mental Sun. And I think Flobberlob, yeah, he just let Mental Sun pass, as there's a couple yellow flags to sort out traffic management. Well, let's see, the Mercedes of Brias on an outlap as well. I think no one in the top 11 is on a lap right now, and they're all going to start their laps soon enough, so we are going to stick with K9 Cube then. Let's see what the Stalber does, heading through Baggots, then around the Beckett chicane, and into Chapel. Kink it to the side, to the left-hand side, or driver's left, and into the penultimate right-hander on the track, being the Stowe corner, no, the third last right-hander on the track, being Stowe corner. Is now into the last two corners on the track, out of the middle chicane and around club corner, and he goes over the line into P12, and he does get ahead of Raikkonen by 0.2 of a second, but he now goes back down into 13th because Joey comes out of nowhere and absolutely demolishes that lap by 0.2 of a second. One of the Red Bulls over the line, that is Silent Assassin not making the lap. So Silent Assassin is out of contention to get any higher than last. That is such a shame for him, as Anarchy now looking to rain havoc over Raikkonen. Can he do so? He's 0.8 behind him at the moment. Can he go any faster? He can. He goes ahead of Raikkonen and lines up alongside his teammate for the British Grand Prix. Let's have a look then. Psycho out of the last corner. He's invalidated his lap. That is such a shame for him. What about G50? 7,000th off his time so far. On board with the Papaya car into the last three corners. As Graham Shifty driving for the team that are based in the UK, in Woking, but he comes out of club corner and over the line into P2 and goes a 10th ahead of Flobberlob. Let's see, as Mental Sun extends the pole time, Demonic Assassin just behind him takes second place from Graham Shifty. What about Flobberlob? Let's see what he can do over the line. He goes to P2 and demotes Demonic Assassin into P3. As one of the Mercedes, that's Brias going up into P8. Let's have a look at Formula Feed. He's always done good here, as he's nearly gone wide, but he has gone to P4 again. And a mere 300ths behind Demonic Assassin. Incredible, as Arimus goes to P5 in the Red Bull. As let's have a look, I think Joey in the V-Carb is going to do a lap, or he's going to finish a lap. I think I just missed it. Oh no, he's invalidated. That's such a shame. Yeah, that's it then. That's it for qualifying. Joey over the line. We're waiting for K9 Cube to be pushed in his garage, and that is the end of qualifying. What an absolutely incredible result for Mental Sun, but what a frantic end as well for P2. The battle for P2 down to P8, P9 I'd say as well. So many battles, and credit to Mr. Towers, by the way, for getting a 127.000. Chef's kiss, as he's 5,000ths behind Bernolds. That is going to sting, and he's going to want to make up for that at the start. But that is the end of qualifying then. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Actually, that's a good plan. I'm going to do a qualifying video and a race video. That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to do that then. Slow connection, apologies if I am lagging in and out. But that is the end of qualifying for Mental Sun and Flobberlob. Let's check the race director for any incidents. Ooh. Let's echo. Oh, now on the formation lap. Right, so wait, I'm gonna just get this sorted. On the formation lap for Slav Tour Racing League. Let's get ready to rumble. So we have Mental Sun ahead of Flobberlob in the Aston Martin. Let's see who will win in the battle on British soil, the home Grand Prix for Grand Prix, as this was the first Grand Prix event in Formula 1. Obviously the first Grand Prix in anything was in in France in 1913 was when the first Grand Prix event in general was done in and out of Formula 1 and its championship. We have Flobalog here, who's a long way ahead of Mental Sun. That's going to really hurt his chances at the start with cold tyres, so he's going to want to brake here a lot more. But the cars are going a lot... so the rest of the field is going through Cops. Flobolob is just heading out of Chapel Corner and is weaving on his own, and he's going to be sat on the grid with his tyres getting really cold. Yeah, big congratulations again to Mental Sun for his pole position. It was a great lap by him to take pole by around half a second, as one of the Williams has now gone ahead. That's Formula Fiend potentially. Is it? No, it isn't. It's the other Williams of who is it? Raikkonen. So Raikkonen and Flobolob are heading to the grid. Flobolob lining up on the grid, and he's overshot. So he's going to be out. He's behind compared to where everyone else is. Let's have a look at Raikkonen then. Is he going to line up perfectly then? Let's have a look. He gets to his grid box and he lines up reasonably well. No, he doesn't. He's out of position just like Flobolob. What about Mental Sun? Is he going to be able to line up well? He is, and so is Demonic Assassin, so is Formula Fiend, so has Arimus, so has Graham Shifty. Who will be the man putting their trophy in the cabinet after the triumphant win at Silverstone? Let's have a look then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on in front of the drivers. And we're away for Slav Talk Racing at Silverstone, and it's a decent start by Mental Sun, who is fighting with Flobolob round turn 1 and 2, but Flobolob round the outside of Farm Corner, now down the inside of Village Corner, takes the lead momentarily, but he loses it, and a bit of contact between him and Mental Sun has nearly cost him. Meanwhile, the Alpine of Demonic Assassin side by side with the Williams of Formula Fiend, as Fiend now gets up into the podium places ahead of the Alpine. Meanwhile, we have Arimus battling with Bryars, who has made a very good start from 8th. Now he's down to 7th after fighting for P6. He's looking for a move on Arimus again. He just can't go too wide. Is nearly going off. He's one of the McLarens. And what on earth's happening here with the two Haas cars, who are battling with the V-Cup and nearly going 3 wide. And now one of the Salvers battling one of the Williams down the inside of Cops for Anarchy. Great stuff. Wide for one of the Haas cars. That's Psycho Leds going wide, and that's going to give an opportunity to Anarchy heading through Maggot to Beckett. Meanwhile, Silent Assassin is ahead of Benold, who looks like he's gone off at Cops Corner. But it's Mental Sun who leads heading into Stowe Corner ahead of Flobolob. Then comes Formula Fiend ahead of Demonic Assassin. It's been a pretty clean start from them all. It looks like no one has really had any issues from what I can see. As we look further down the order, we have the Haas cars battling it out. That's Mr. Towers battling with Psycho Leds. Leds now behind Towers and now under pressure from Anarchy as they head round Club Corner. But Anarchy really looking to make up places ahead of the Haas cars, and he looks like he's going to try and do so on the outside of Farm Corner, but no, he's not going to make that move stick. He looks to the inside of Village Corner. No, again, Psycho Leds just defending very well. Fun fact about Silverstone that I'll tell you about in a minute, because Joey makes contact with Lugo Siux, who has had a poor start, going from 7th to 9th, and he's now battling Joey in 10th. Behind Lucas Siux for now, but nearly got past this, nearly a spin for one of the Salvers. That is Anarchy. It looked like he made contact at Brooklyn's corner with Psycho Leds and had a massive slide. It looks like he hasn't lost too much time though. He hasn't even lost any positions, and he's still right on the back of the Haas car, who is taking him to the inside at Cops. And Anarchy makes the move stick, but goes wide in doing so. But the Haas not able to make a move in return. And we head back up the order. But yeah, the fun fact I was going to tell you about was that most of the Silverstone track is in the county of Northamptonshire. but as Raikkonen gets past Psycho Leds in the Haas, but as they head through Club Corner actually is in Buckinghamshire. So when you hear me say they come out of Buckinghamshire, that's because they literally go in and out of Buckinghamshire. Like you're about to see, Raikkonen goes into Buckinghamshire and now out of it as he goes over the line. It's a bit of a diagonal line between Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire. So it's like the racing line they take, think of that, but more to the inside and more straight with less turning. That's your line between Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire in terms of the two counties, or if you're American you know it as a state. But Demonic Assassin just getting ahead of Formula Fiend. Formula Fiend looking to fight back but not able to do so on the exits of Lovefield. Heading out of Woodcote and over into Copse. Let's see what can happen then. Let's see as Fiend heading around Copse, going wide due to the dirty air of the car in front. He's not able to turn as effectively. They're heading through then. It looks pretty decent so far, as the V-Carb and the Haas looking quite close. That is Joey and Mr. Tower looking quite feisty. Looking like they're going to battle. Meanwhile, Demonic Assassin and Formula Fiend battling again. Fiend to the inside at Stowe. Now he has the outside line into the Vale chicane. Who will win out in this one? Fiend to the outside, which becomes the inside in the chicane. But round the outside for Demonic Assassin. Is he going to make the move stick? He does. He's given the room by Formula Fiend. I'm surprised that they didn't make contact there. But round Abbey and Farm, Formula Fiend stays ahead as he had the inside line heading round turn 1, but into turn 3 and 4, Demonic Assassin on a right charge. Meanwhile, Silent Assassin in the Red Bull, he's made up 2 places from 18th, but he's not made up any more progress after that. He's having connection issues in the Red Bull. Meanwhile, Demonic Assassin in the Alpine, now going round the outside of the blue and orange Williams of Formula Fiend. And Formula Fiend now trying to hang it around the outside of Lovefield on the Alpine. Is he going to do so? It's all now a battle of who can have enough torque to get up into Copse ahead of the other, and that battle is won by Fiend. So Fiend now into 3rd ahead of Demonic Assassin in P4. Make that maybe P5 if Graham Shifty is risky into Maggins and Beckett's, but no, never into Maggins and Beckett's, not from there. Meanwhile, the Mercedes now, this is like a battle of 6 cars forming up between Formula Fiend and the Alpine of Demonic Assassin, who is now swapping places. Fiend and Assassin side by side. It's now Assassin ahead of Fiend, and Fiend now trying to get back at the Alpine, but the Alpine now is given the room on the inside, and Assassin now on the inside at Club Corner as they pay a visit to Buckinghamshire and then accelerate well away from it, heading round into turn 1. As now around the outside for Formula Fiend. Is he going to make the move? No, he isn't. The number 11 Williams not able to make a move heading into Village Corner. Heading round the loop though, he's setting up a move for the exit of the loop and into Aintree, but he is blocked off by the Alpine. Meanwhile, side by side for the Mercedes and the Red Bull, that's Brias and Arimus side by side. We'll see what happens in that battle later on, but the Alpine of Demonic Assassin trying to go around the outside of Formula Fiend, who is putting in another charge. Meanwhile, Brias did get ahead of the Red Bull of Arimus. Roundward could they go, and it's Fiend ahead of the Alpine of Demonic Assassin. Incredible, the battle for 3rd heating up here, wide for the Alpine, G-Shifty nowhere near. And they go round again, round Maggotts and Beckett's and Chapel, with the breathing space of this race at the moment. But as Psycho Leds has got ahead of the Red Bull of Silent Assassin, who is ghosted due to reliability issues. Here's the McLaren of Derek Quay looking for a move on Arimus. Arimus looks like he's struggling, and Quay looking for a move but not able to make it stick. He's got a bit wide out of Stowe Corner. And actually, this is giving an opportunity to the Ferrari to go down the inside. Not able to make the move stick there. Meanwhile, Silent Assassin does get ahead of the Haas of Psycho Led, who is... This is the battle for 16th. As hello Kimmy on the Facebook Live, nice to see ya. As there we go, that's a bit better. As we have Luco Sioux heading around the loop and onto Aintree now. Is anything going to be done? As oh, there's a battle further in front. G Shifty, Graham Shifty now finally making a move on this battle. Demonic Assassin with reliability issues again for the second race in succession. He had an issue in Bahrain where his car just slowed down randomly and then sped up again. But now here in Silverstone, he's had the same issue as the Silent Assassin, as his car has gone into ghost mode and he has disconnected from the session. And that means he is not in control of the car. The AI is, and the AI, trust me, is slower than the real drivers here in Slav Racing League. Some of the highest quality drivers you'll find in F1 25 in terms of racecraft and pace, and the balancing act between them, you probably won't get much better than this here in Slav Racing League. Into Stowe Corner then we have Demonic Assassin going down the order. Such a shame for him, but this gives Formula Fiend a bit of breathing space to now just manage his tyres. Meanwhile, I think Psycho Les now is being caught by the Red Bull of Silent Assassin, but Assassin not able to make the move. K9 Cube in the pits, and no, it's Raikkonen in the pits, and Raikkonen has just got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is really going to wreck his chances, as Psycho Lens is also in the pits. So Raikkonen now going from mediums to hard, no, not hard tyres. The Haas of Psycho Lens is going from soft tyres to medium tyres, no, soft tyres to hard tyres, should I say. But what is the Williams of Raikkonen doing? I'm not too sure. I'll have to wait till he comes out the pits. There we go. As he's on the hard tyres. So Demonic Assassin and Raikkonen and Psycho Leds are both on hard tyres. But Raikkonen does have the penalty hanging over his shoulder. As Mental Sun leads Flobbelob by 3.3 seconds. Then comes Formula Fiend a further 6 seconds behind Flobbelob. Then comes Graham Shifty 2 seconds behind Formula Fiend. Then comes the battle between that's just Demonic Assassin going down the order. He's just been passed by Mr. Towers, but there's a battle between the Ferrari and the McLaren. Luco Sioux goes down the inside of Derek Quay. Meanwhile, Graham Shifty defending from Briars is into the pits for Graham Shifty, and he just about gets into the pits without speeding. As both McLarens in the pits. Is this a strategic error? Right. Start recording. So the McLaren's here. So Derek Quay has just lost a load of time with a double stack, and Demonic Assassin going down the order still with the issues. Currently in P10. Not good for him. Meanwhile, there's something on the floor. Anyway, we have Raikkonen getting ahead of Derek Quay and ahead of Silent Assassin out of the pit lane. So Raikkonen is in 14th, and Demonic Assassin has joined the session again, but not before he's gone all the way down to P10. Let's keep an eye on Briars though in the Mercedes. Let's see, as a 3-second penalty for Joey in the V car. He's been over track limits a bit too much, and now has got a penalty for it. As Arimus now looking to get ahead of Briars. Is that gonna work with the DRS? No, he's not. So that's not gonna work. Meanwhile, there's the battle between Demonic Assassin and K9 Cube. The Cube to the inside, but the Assassin round the outside. And he holds the place. I think he does. Nicely done by the Assassin to stay ahead of K9 Cube. Meanwhile, Briars in the pits. Let's see if Briars can get ahead of the McLaren of Graham Shifty, but also Derek Quay as well. It'll be a tight one between the pair of them, because they were literally side by side as G Shifty went into the pits. But now Briars coming out of the pit lane. Let's see how close this is. That silver, you'll see a silver car in a minute. Let's have a look. Who's going to come out ahead? I think it is G Shifty by about 2 seconds is ahead of the Mercedes of Briars. There's a pass though between Joey and Anarchy. This is for P7 currently, but they still have to make their pit stops, remember. But Joey to the inside gets ahead of Anarchy on track position. Nicely done there as... Let's have a look. Heading round Copse Corner, nearly over the curb there for the Alpine. I'm not going to make it work. Meanwhile, we have... So Assassin here trying to get up into P8. Whoa, and wide for the Alpine. He's going to have to give that position back, and he does. Whoa, and they nearly made contact. As Assassin went to the inside, Anarchy made a little twitch to the inside there. As Anarchy was going there, they nearly made contact. But Assassin able to go up into the P8 without any issues for the time being. And the next car on his list is Joey. Joey does have the penalty, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But meanwhile, Bernard here trying to get ahead of K9 Cube. He's got a great run out of the club corner, heading around Avian Farm and into the village and loop sections. Let's see what the Aston Martin does. Aston Martin heading out of the loop now and over the Wellington straight into Brooklands corner. Let's see who will make the move. No move made at the moment by the Aston Martin, but I am going to keep an eye on this battle. It's the closest battle on track at the moment according to the telemetry. No, it isn't actually, because that award goes to Demonic Assassin, who is going round the outside into Copse Corner ahead of Joey, who now is under threat from the Sauber, who's going to go for the move into Maggots and Beckett and makes it stick. Beautiful move by Anarchy to get up into P8 round Maggots Beckett. Incredible. Meanwhile, Luco Sioux and Arimus are battling for P4. Who will make the move into the Vale Chicane? It will be Luco Sioux who gets ahead of Arimus, heading round the last few corners and out of Club Corner as they pay a visit to Buckinghamshire and now blast away. As let's see, Joey in the pits then. Let's see who he comes out ahead of. Let's see, I think his main battle was with Raikkonen, and he might be able to get Derek Quay. So let's see what happens here. Let's see if he gets ahead of Derek Quay or even Psycho Leds as well. Don't forget about him, because he could be on the back. So he's not ahead of Bryce by any means of the imagination. It's going to be tight between... No, it's not going to be tight between him and Raikkonen. He's going to come out just in between Raikkonen and... Oh, it's going to be tight with Derek Quay, you know. As Quay gets ahead. That's interesting. So Quay does get ahead of the V-Carbon Joey. Joey in 15th now after the pit stops. As we have the Saubers here heading up into Copse Corner. Is there any move made? Not at the moment. Closest battle on track at the moment is either the battle between Luco Sioux and Arimus, or it's the battle between Formula Fiend and Flobalov. Flobalov has actually lost a lot of time to Formula Fiend in the last few laps, and Flobalov now as none of them heading into the pit lane. One of the Mercedes in the pit lane, that is the Kausmorken, who is the Kausmorken, should I say, who is heading around into the pit lane. He's currently last and 30 seconds away from anyone. So pretty disastrous race for him. The Saubers swap places because one of the Saubers is in, and it is Anarchy. So Anarchy in the lime green Sauber now in the pits. Let's see what tyres does he go on. Anarchy currently on hard tyres. As he's now losing out to G-Shiftiest. No, K9 Cube, I think, has gone off. Or has he? No, oh no, it's blue flags for the Mercedes. There was yellow flags around K9 Cubers. Joey gets ahead of Psycho Leds, and Leds nearly goes wide in letting him through, and it's going to be tight between Anarchy and Joey, but Joey is now way far behind Anarchy. So Anarchy now ahead of Joey by about 2.5 seconds. But obviously Joey, with that penalty and also with the battling with the Haas, has already held him up. As heading round as Formula V gets ahead of Formula. That's big. Formula Fiend gets ahead of Flobbelob. Does that mean Flobbelob is conserving his tyres more, or does that mean the Fiend is quicker on pace? Meanwhile, they're both behind Mental Sun by 10 seconds, but Flobbelob losing the place to Formula Fiend. Fiend now trying to pull away, but not able to. Arimus in the pits. Let's see who he comes out ahead of. So the main rivals for Arimus, it's either Bryce, G Shifty, or Derek Quay. Those are the three that he was battling with at the start. Will he be battling with them by the time he gets out of the pit lane? I find it highly unlikely that he will, because he's... There we go. There goes G Shifty. He's passed. There goes Bryce. He's passed. And he's going to come out just out of Raikkonen, I would presume. And he does. He comes out ahead of Raikkonen and in turn ahead of Derek Quay. So Arimus in P11, but he is now on fresher tyres compared to Bryce and Graham Shifty. Meanwhile, we have the Aston Martin of Flobbelob ahead, behind, should I say, Formula Fiend. Check the recording time. Actually, I'm going to stop that now. Dink. Just going to do this to get up. So we're currently on lap 13 of the Grand Prix here in Silverstone. And it's been a thrilling race so far. Let's hope it keeps up the action, as we have Derek Quay currently struggling behind Raikkonen, just losing pace after the double stack of McLaren really cost him in the pit stop run. Is it raining? It is raining! Joey has pit for intermediate tyres, and the rain is starting to fall in Sector 2. Incredible! As Benoit has lost the place, as Derek Quay goes ahead of Raikkonen finally. Benoit's in the pits. It has started raining. Incredible! Here in Silverstone, the British weather playing its role in this race. The Aston Martin of Benoit into the pits for intermediate tyres. It really depends on how wet the track gets. How quickly does the track get wet and slippery? But we have... Is that Raikkonen? No, it isn't. Is it? No, it is. It's Formula Fiend and Flobbelob. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see what Mental Sun does. Mental Sun, who started on the hard tyres, has done all 14 laps of the race so far. Will he dive into the pits for intermediates yet? He does! Into the pits for Mental Sun. He now goes on to the intermediate tyres. He nearly speeds in the pit lane. Lucas Yux gets ahead of Flobbelob. So Flobbelob losing places here. Lucas Yux and Formula Fiend both get ahead of Flobbelob. Flobbelob stays out. So Formula Fiend, Mental Sun and Lucas Yux all come into the pits. But Flobbelob staying out, at least for, I presume, one more lap. But the rain isn't exactly the heaviest, but it's still enough for a has to be in the wall. As that is Mr. Tower careering into the wall on the Exeter Club corner. He left Buckinghamshire a little bit shaky, and he's now crashed into the pit wall, but he doesn't look to have damage. But the rain is ramping up. But the number 12 Haas car going off, as meanwhile we have one of the Red Bulls, that is Arimus, getting ahead of Lucas Yux, I reckon that is. But I think McLaren may have hurt themselves a bit in this race then, at least with Derek Quay. G-Shifty might have got away with it, but as K9 Cube here, just being passed by the McLaren of Graham Shifty, as K9 really struggling for traction. We go on board with the Mercedes here, but nothing made of it at the moment. Mental Sun currently in P3, looking to make the move on Demonic Assassin. Demonic Assassin, is he another one that stayed out? He is. So Demonic Assassin has stayed out for a lap longer than his rival, and his two rivals in front of him. Let's watch though. Does Flobbelob come into the pits? He has to, surely. If people are going off, He does. He comes into the pits. He is the sensible guy. Let's see if Demonic Assassin knows. Assassin staying out longer. So he is going to take the lead of the British Grand Prix here on lap 15, but that could be the wrong call because look at Mental Sun. He's bearing all over him. As all over the back of the Alpine, the V-carb, trying it, looking to make a move. He's bearing down his neck. He's looking to make a move. Meanwhile, Flobbelob in the pits. Where does he come out in this? Meanwhile, Mr. Tower comes into the pits and does replace that front wing, so he did get damage from hitting the wall. Into the pits for K9 Cube as well. He is also into the pits, as well as G Shifty, who is... Oh no, is that Derek Quay? No, it is. It's Graham Shifty, who's in the pits for intermediate tyres. Meanwhile, that is Flobbelob. He has just come out directly behind Luco Sioux. So, Flobbelob, who was in second, has now dropped to third. Demonic Assassin has finally lost the lead to Mental Sun, heading into Copse Corner. Round they go. And wide for the Alpine. And the grip falling away from the Alpine, but is he hoping for the track to dry up? The Mercedes of Bryant, he hasn't come into the pits for wet tyres either. So, it is going to be interesting to see if, as what's happened there, K9 Cube has got ahead of Psycho Leds, and Psycho really struggling in that Haas car. He's on the dry tyres, but his teammate Mr. Towers, who replaced his front wing, is now back behind his teammate in the race. And I think so. Towers here, he's closing in on his teammate. Meanwhile, Assassin has just gone into the pits. So he stayed out longer, but it wasn't the right call, I don't think, because he's now dropped behind Mental Sun. He's behind the Mercedes of Bryus. He's now going to be well behind Formula Fiend and Arimus. But does he come out ahead of Flobbelob and Luco Sioux? I highly doubt it, as Benolds gets ahead of Psycho Leds, who is still dropping down the order on the dry tyres, as Flobbelob and Luco Sioux get ahead of the Alpine of Demonic Assassin, as does Derek Quay. It's going to be tight between the Williams of Raikkonen and Demonic Assassin, but Assassin ahead of Raikkonen. Raikkonen on the dry tyres still as well, but Raikkonen still able to be somewhat close to the Alpine, as nearly into the back of the Haas goes Benolds, who's trying to get ahead of Mr. Towers. Mr. Towers going wide with K9 Cube. This is the battle for P12 between three different cars. Arimus trying to make a move on Formula Fiend, and is he going to do it actually? Into Maggots Beckett? No. You'd have to be mental to do that. Meanwhile, Mr. Towers and K9 Cube side by side. Round the outside for the Sauber driver, over the curb. And now it's a drag race up Woodcourt into Copse Corner, and it's Mr. Towers who wins in this occasion, as K9 Cube thinking of a move into Copse Corner, and he doesn't make it stick. As into the pits for one of the Mercedes, that is Bryus, finally in the pits, and he is now going to drop probably behind Derek Quay, and maybe even behind Raikkonen, Assassin and Anarchy. Meanwhile, Arimus trying to get ahead of Formula Fiend to get up into P2. Flobbelob has lost a lot of time in this crossover period to the wet tyres. He stayed out longer, but it wasn't the right call, as round Aintree Corner for Formula Fiend, Arimus not able to close up enough for a move. Meanwhile, Bryus does come out ahead of Graham Shifty, but behind Raikkonen. So Bryus in P9 at the moment. We have Benolds trying to get ahead of the Haas of Mr. Towers. We have Anarchy in the pits for wet tyres, I presume. As the closest battle on track at the moment is the tussle for P2 between Formula Fiend and Arimus. Mental Sun 13 seconds up the road in the lead. But who will take the crown? Will it be Fiend or will it be Arimus? As K9 Cube battling with Benolds here, side by side for the pair of them on the exit. who's going to be able to utilize enough torque, get enough power into that track, and who's going to be able to roll away from the other. It is Bernals at the moment who was able to do so. Derek Quay behind the Alpine. Did Derek Quay just go off potentially? I'm not too sure. But Derek Quay is on the dry tyres, but he's losing so much time. It's a bit silly that he hasn't come into the pits yet, but heading on to lap 19 out of 26, we have 7 laps to go here at Silverstone, and it looks like it's going to be a very dreary end to the race in terms of the weather. But in terms of Arimus and Formula Fien, it's going to be delight as they are battling. No matter what happens, as long as they don't spin, Arimus and Formula Fien battling within the podium. But who will stand to the left of the winner and who will stand to the right, we don't know yet. As heading out of Larfield, as Raikkonen and Quay both into the pits. Raikkonen behind Quay at the moment, and staying behind Quay. And it looks like Raikkonen is going to come out maybe just behind the Haas of Psycho Leds. In the Haas, he does, as DRS is finally disabled, so the rain didn't come down that hard, so it was a very tricky call on when to go for the wet tyres. But Arimus here still on the dry tyres. So although Arimus is trying to battle for P2, at the same time he's on the dry tyres. And Formula Fien on the intermediate tyres, the tyres that are better for the rain. But Arimus isn't losing any time though, so it's very interesting to see this play out. Meanwhile, there's a battle further back in the field, heading round Cops for Joey and Anarchy. Joey nearly spins, and Anarchy also nearly spins. But Anarchy gets ahead and puts his Sauber into P12 as Joey slides his way through Maggins and Beckett and falls down into 13th. Derek Quay now right on the back of the V-Carb racer. And now heading into Stowe Corner, is a move going to be made? No, it's not. But it's going to be interesting to see if Arimus, he's falling further and further away. He's not falling in pace in the way that Derek Quay did a couple laps ago, but he is dropping pace. He is slow. Joey in the pits. Not too sure what happened, but he's in the pits and there's a yellow flag. Not too sure as to why. Let me check. Oh! He spun on the entry of the pit lane. Joey spins on the entry of the pit lane. Did he get damaged from that? Let's have a little check as he enters the pit box. He's on the intermediates, but he's come into the pit lane. I presume he's probably locked the rear tyres on the pit entry, and it has put him in the wall because he's got no front wing, and he's now got a very long pit stop on his hands. He could even be lapped by his own teammate. But out of the pits for the 82 V-Carb. Meanwhile, the 88 V-Carb, the leader of the race being Mental Sun, who is 14 seconds ahead of his nearest rival, being Formula Fien. But no, he doesn't get lapped by his teammate yet, although it is very tight between the two V-Carbs. Let's see now, the Williams here, trying to make a move on Psycho Leds, so Raikkonen trying to get ahead of Psycho Leds. Is a move going to be made? They head up into Cop's Corner. It's a great run for Raikkonen, who gets into P14. Nicely done there. Arimus finally pits, and he is going to lose a heap of time. He's behind Flobolob, behind Demonic Assassin. He's going to be definitely behind Bryce. It will be interesting to see if he comes out ahead of Graham Shifty. Will he get ahead of Graham Shifty? No, he won't. Not at all. Or will he? No, he's going to come out side by side with Mr. Towers heading into Village Corner. As nearly sliding and spinning for Mr. Towers with 5 laps to go. The drivers are getting a little bit playful as, going wide there is Graham Shifty. Mr. Towers almost spinning in unison as into Brooklyn's corner, Mr. Towers bearing down the neck of Graham Shifty. This is the closest battle on track according to the telemetry, as Arimus behind Mr. Towers and G Shifty. Arimus is on the fresher tyres, but Towers and G-Shifty are on the warmer tyres that have actually done a couple laps and got heated, and when there's more heat in the tyre, it grips to the road more. As a bit like heated butter. You just can't move it from the pan once it's heated, because it just has way too much grip to come off the pan. And that's the same kind of thing with these tyres on the track and on the rubber on the track. Let's see then, who will be P7 by the time they get to Stowe? Will it be Mr. Towers or G-Shifty? It will be Mr. Towers in the 71 Haas car, who is ahead of the McLaren as they head into the last two corners on the lap that are in Northamptonshire. It's Mr. Towers still in front. It's G-Shifty now as they blast around Buckinghamshire and now blast away from Buckinghamshire into turn 1, known as Abbey Corner. Let's see. Both McLarens in battles. One of them is in a battle with a Haas and a Red Bull. The other one is in a battle trying to chase down Anarchy in the Sauber for P12. That is Derek Quay battling for P12, by the way. As I should stress that Anarchy is in P12 and Derek Quay is in P13. But Arimus here, looking very toasty. He might even go for a move on G-Shifty in this lap. But lap 22 to 26, Shifty goes wide and Arimus just goes through the wide open door. Great stuff by Anarchy, I have to say. Oh, great stuff by Arimus, I have to say so myself. It was a very simple overtake though, because Shifty just fell out of the road and wasn't able to hold the inside line, which is the shortest line round the corner. Meanwhile, Arimus did take that line and it put him ahead of Shifty, and Shifty now in P9. And that closest battle on track has now faded away. Meanwhile, the closest battle on track now is between Joey and Silent Assassin. Assassin round the outside of Joey. Joey makes contact with Assassin. This is the battle for P16 and P17 between these two. Mental Sun just behind this. Mental Sun obviously being the leader, so he's nearly a lap ahead of this battle. But his teammate battling with the Red Bull, Silent Assassin, who hits the gravel and spins, I think. He does, yeah, he goes off a Woodcote. He should get lapped in a minute. Oh, he might do. As Mental Sun is there in the picture for those watching on the YouTube. Mental Sun there right behind Silent Assassin, who was battling with Joey but went wide in doing so and found himself losing a lot of time. Meanwhile, Silent Assassin, his teammate, is currently trying to catch Mr. Towers in the Haas and trying to get from P8 into P7. As, let's see. No move made at the moment. Let's check on the Sauber, who is being caught by Derek Quay. No move being made in that battle. Let's stick with Arimus then and see if he can make a move on this Haas. As hello Shanna, nice to see you in the Facebook Live. It's heading around Cops Corner. So 2 laps to go here in Silverstone for Slav Talk Racing League. It's been a thrilling race with changeable weather. But who will come out on... Well, Mental Sun looks like he's going to come out on top in this race. But it looks like Formula Fiend should get P2 ahead of Luco Sioux. Then comes Flobberlob. Meanwhile, the closest battle on track at the moment is between Arimus and Mr. Towers. The Haas versus the Red Bull. Who will take the win? Oh, no, not the win. Who will take the honour of being P7 in this incredible British Grand Prix? Mr. Towers, he was able to get ahead of G-Shifty earlier with his great attacking in racecraft, but will his defending play a good role? Meanwhile, Luco Sioux, he's fighting because Luco Sioux here has a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Flobberlob is currently within 3 seconds of the nearest car, so Flobberlob should be able to get up into P3. To answer your question, yes, I do go to Plymouth City College in a drama course just to help with the commentary stuff that I'm trying to do in real life. But I'm doing Ocean City Radio and as well as the Plymouth Gladiator Speedway. I'm doing the dirt bike commentary for that, so I'm going to be down at the Speedway at Marsh Mills. And then I'm also looking to commentate on the NPCC boxing promotion, which is Milanis and Caden, their boxing thing, so I'm taking part in that because I'm bored, if I'm honest. So yeah, heading through Magnets and Beckenstone, 2 laps to go here in Silverstone, as Luco Sioux is gaining time on Formula Fiend, but he's also losing time to Flobberlob. The battle for P2 is raging a little bit. I do remember you, Shara. I remember you. I don't remember a lot about you, but I remember you from Map, yes. Heading round the club corner in a minute or two with Arimus and Mr. Towers, who will take it. Arimus not able to get close enough for a move. No one really getting close enough for a move, but Mental Sun heading round. I think he's heading round Cops Corner just now, as the leader will start the final lap in a minute or two. We'll give him a bit of attention in a bit, but we're just going to keep an eye on Arimus. Can he get ahead of the man in P7, Mr. Towers? Quick question for Shana. Do you go City College then? If you do, I haven't seen you there, but if you do, let me know. Anyway, we have Mr. Towers on P7 ahead of Arimus. Let's see, as Towers goes wide and nearly spins. Arimus catching up to the back of Mr. Tower. No move made though, but he is closer to the back of Mr. Tower than before, but he's probably going to make the move on the last lap. That is the most likely thing to happen, as Luco Sioux also getting close to Formula Fiend. He's been closing that gap the last few laps. As you may have seen on the telemetry, that gap getting smaller. And let's have a look. Let's see, can Arimus make a move? No, he can't. He's losing time. He's only got one more lap to be able to make a move on the Haas car. He's close, but he's just not close enough yet. But he has been getting closer and closer and closer for the last 2 laps, similar to how Luco Sioux has been getting closer and closer and closer to Formula Fiend for P2. But out of the final corner, will a move be made by Arimus? He's very close, heading through Abbey and Farm. He's 3/10 away from Mr. Towers, but he is losing time on round Farm corner. Meanwhile, the Sauber and the McLaren of Derek Quay battling, but no move made there. But heading through... Oh, it's round for Mr. Towers! He nearly spins, he saves it, but in doing so, he loses it out to Arimus. But Arimus now side by side with Mr. Towers. Can Mr. Towers get back? No, he can't. Drama there. I was waiting for something to happen, and of course it did. Mental Sun, though. He's been the man who has won many races in this championship. He is the definition of domination in this league. Mental Sun, you have won the British Grand Prix for Slav Talk Racing League. Nicely done. Meanwhile, who will take second? Formula Fiend ahead of Luco Sioux. Sioux getting out of the final corners now. And it looks like he's going to end up behind Flobberlob with that penalty. That is such a shame. But Formula Fiend, nice job from you today. You are P2 ahead of Flobberlob. Then comes Luco Sioux in the Ferrari. Demonic Assassin, after reliability issues, fights back to finish P5 ahead of championship contender Bryars, who has given up a couple points to his rivals. He needs a bit of redemption in the next race. Then comes Arimus, who did get ahead of Mr. Towers and gets up into P6 ahead of Bryars because of Bryars' penalty. Incredible. Meanwhile, G Shifty now is the first McLaren over the line to get up into P9 ahead of Bernard, who is behind K9 Cube now. Then comes Anarchy, who gets ahead of Bernard as well on penalties. Derek Quay comes home behind Bernard in 14th. Then comes the Raikkonen in the Williams. Then comes Psycho Legs, who will lead home the V-Carb of Joey CB. What a race here in the British Grand Prix for Slav Racing League. It's been a pleasure to commentate on, I must say so myself. I hope I haven't lost any footage from that race. If I have, then I apologise in advance. But yeah, that was an incredible end to an incredible race. And congrats to Mental Sun for a dominant performance again. Congrats to all the drivers who competed today. And yeah, I shall see you all next time after I do the results. But thank you again to Arimus and to all of Slav Racing League for having me. It's been a pleasure to commentate on. As there we go, Mental Sun, your race winner was also the man who set the fastest lap. Your driver of the day was Bryce K9 Cube, was able to complete the most overtakes, and then Cow's Mocking was the cleanest driver in that race according to the game. In terms of the race director, here it is, because Arimus likes to look at it. Lots of track limit violations here. Many track limit violations here at Silverstone. There we go. So that's it. I think all of them were just track limit violations. I think no real warnings for collisions from what I saw there. But yeah, alright, that's it then. Thank you very much again to Slav Racing League for having me. Been nice to commentate on. I think I have forgotten to start a recording for part of that race, so maybe you'll be just seeing my voice or my face in the YouTube, but hopefully I can get some clips and that'll be nice. So yeah, thank you very much for watching and goodbye.